move this down to New Orleans.
Wouldn't that be nice?
It's like that for chlorine.
Tried to make it nice and toasty in here, but then it's like we dread going outside.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank everybody for coming tonight. We'll do roll call. Deb? Here. Michelle? Here. Larry?
Here.
Megan? Here. Sarah? Here. Okay. Motion to approve the agenda as presented or amended.
So moved. Second.
Motion and second to approve the agenda as presented. Any other questions? Not, we'll go to vote. Deb?
Yes.
Michelle?
Yes.
Larry?
Yes.
Megan?
Yes.
Sarah?
Yes.
All right, on to the consent agenda. Motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second it.
Motion and second to approve the consent agenda.
I do have, Mayor.
Yeah.
I do have a question. Why are we approving library board minutes? I don't think we've done that before.
Yeah, every time we have minutes from any departmental thing, we put it on the consent agenda just to receive them into the public domain.
Oh, okay.
Any other questions? Now we'll go to vote. Michelle?
Yes.
Larry?
Yes.
Megan? Yes. Sarah?
Yes.
Deb?
Yes.
All right, updates and presentations with City Administrator.
Great, thank you. I'm going to go quickly because we've got a big agenda tonight. First, thanks to the fire department, we got some updated minutes from going back several months. So we're about caught up and about to try to keep on schedule. So I'm really appreciative for their help in getting that up to snuff. The grocery store is now listed for sale officially, so there's a listing. So if any of you get any, questions or during the week, you can guide them to me. I can guide them to the posting, or you can guide them yourselves. I can send out a link. Want to compliment the City Works guys, done a great job on snow removal. This one, they got hammered, and they were out there. They had every piece of machinery possible out there moving snow up and down and left and right. So did a great job. We have electricity now on the handicap accessible door, so anybody just has to hit the button during hours when we're open, otherwise it's locked and the door will open, which is really great. And then finally, you've all seen the Christmas decorations hanging on the poles. I think they look really good, and good job to the City Works guys for making that happen. And that was a very quick time frame between ordering them, receiving them, and getting them hung. Yeah, so we're really happy about that. So those are the updates outside of what we're going to talk about in the agenda.
Can I ask about snow removal at the grocery store?
Yes.
Like on the sidewalk specifically?
I have a call into the owner, let him know that the sidewalks, even though the business is closed, the sidewalks still have to get shoveled. And then the lot is kind of a gray area. Like we don't really have a lot of latitude over shoveling the actual parking lots, but he has definitely been alerted that the sidewalks need to be shoveled.
That's my main concern.
So, so we'll keep on that, and if we don't get an answer like in the next day or two, then we can work with the city guys and see what we can come up with.
Okay, great, thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Now we'll go to new business, number 8, motion to receive state audit reports.
I so move to receive the state audit report.
Second.
All right, motion and a second.
Great. So we received 2 audit reports. One was our annual fiscal year 2024 audit from the state, and the second one was a re-audit of fire department's business with the city pertaining to the fire truck from a few years ago. I have a summary presentation here. I didn't want to hand it out too early because everybody will get lost in it. So I kind of wanted to get a sense of, I can go through and just sort of do a summary of the findings of each report and then a summary of what we've done to mitigate a lot of these things. You know, most of this report came from before my tenure, and so even upon just coming here before seeing this report, like most of the items have already been mitigated. But I wanted to go through, and then when I'm done, maybe I can hand this out. You guys can all have a document that you can take home and review. Otherwise, it would be like all night. So the first one will be the city audit, and there were, I think, 13 findings on the city audit. And I'm going to go through quickly. If you have any questions, just interrupt me. Otherwise, I'll assume that my answers are adequate. The first one was fiduciary oversight. So this had a lot to do with doing things by motions, by resolutions, and by ordinances. There was a lot of gray area. All of that, as you all know, have been cleaned up. You know, we do simple things by motion, official things by resolution, laws by ordinance, and we stick to that protocol. So finding A has, in my opinion, been completely solved. Finding B, this is an important one, segregation of duties. So the biggest things that we got on the report was lack of segregation of duties, and this comes to not having enough people to do the work of City Hall and having the same people handling the money that's coming in and making the deposits and taking the deposits, and that opens up the door for potential problems. So since coming on board, we've had really good segregation of duties. We've got Jesse and I here full-time, we've got Rita here part-time. Between the 3 of us, we've satisfied most of the state's segregation of duties requirements. They understand that we probably don't have the budget to hire a 4th person, so they're like, we understand with 2.5 to 3 people in City Hall that you're just not going to be able to do everything. But in concert with them, we've figured out like a pretty good segregation of duties to make sure that there's oversight and stuff like that. So pretty happy with that. Next is the certified budget. There were some fund transfers and stuff to the budget that didn't have a council resolution. Pretty normal stuff, like we wouldn't make any fund transfer without a resolution. That's something that's already been mitigated. Journal entries, this has already been implemented. This is just so that nobody can go in and, put $1,000 credit on somebody's account with no oversight or anything like that. So that's been mitigated. The annual financial report, there was a difference of $1,603 between our ledger and the annual financial report, and that had to do with that dormant ambulance account that had $1,603 in it. It had it in there for years and years and years. It was sitting on our books as far as assets go, but it wasn't in our annual reports because it was like an association sort of account. We've cleaned that up. If you remember, 6 months ago, we had a resolution to close that account. That money was deposited into our regular ambulance account in the city, so that's been solved. City council minutes. There was one meeting that did not get reported to the newspaper within 15 days. That's been the only instance of that happening. We send the minutes every Friday, so that's been done. Payroll is done. If there's any adjustments to pay, as you've seen on the previous agendas, as well as tonight's, any adjustment to annual pay or salary has to be done by resolution. That's already done. Disbursements, this had to do with sales tax. So we have a monthly recurring charge with a company that does our internet, stuff like that, and we didn't have sales tax on for months and months, well, years and years actually, and then there was one invoice with sales tax that got by us, so we've gone and had that reversed, so that's been taken care of, and we're pretty prudent about not having sales tax on anything else. Bank reconciliations, those are now being done with oversight and a city council member looking at the reconciliation report and signing off on it, so that's been solved. Unclaimed property, we haven't really had this issue yet, but we will, by resolution, talk about any unclaimed property and follow the state's fiscal procedures. Depository resolution, this is for our petty cash, and I'm sorry, not for our petty cash. They want a resolution that talks about how much money our bank account might have. It's a very strange thing, so I'm trying to get some clarification from the state. Typically we carry between $3.5 and $4 million in the bank. Trying to get a sense of, are they saying under 10 million, over 10 million, or to try to get it as close as possible. I've never seen this before. It seems strange to me, but I'll get clarification and we'll do whatever they tell us to do. And then petty cash, this has already been solved. We have a petty cash policy. If you remember, a few months ago we raised the amount to account for petty cash purchases for alcohol and tobacco compliance and stuff like that. All right, so that's it on the city stuff. If there's any questions on any of these, I'm happy to answer them. Otherwise, I'll move on. Great. The next one was the fire department re-audit report summary. So I'm sure you all remember a year and a half plus ago, there was a lot of public interest in this story. I don't want to relitigate this, but I want to talk about what the audit uncovered and what's been done to mitigate it. So the first key finding was that the sale of the fire truck was not done properly. And since then, we have a checklist and a policy for the sale or the disposal of any public property, evidenced by what you'll see later in the agenda, like we're getting rid of even just small stuff. It all has to be done by resolution. So the truck was definitely not sold in the proper legal mechanism. The audit didn't uncover any malfeasance of any sort. They just basically had a problem with the process and how it went about happening. They also had a problem with that we didn't have a resolution to receive the payment, which that was a surprise to me, so surprises all around on that. Next, the second finding was what they term as billing irregularities. Going back to 2021 to 2024, there's a list in the audit of instances that may or may not have been billed. As you'll recall, in our city code, the fire chief has full discretion about who gets charged and who doesn't get charged, and I know that there was some pushback from city council members at the time about that. Since then, we've been working together to just have everything come through the city, and if there are charges that we want to waive for whatever reason, it'll require a resolution to do that. So that's been good. Had really good working relationship with the fire department on that. The chief comes in, brings charges in. Look, every quarter, every 3 to 4 months, because quite frankly, there's not a lot of chargeable instances. So that's been going really well as far as I'm concerned. The city will have to determine, the council members will have to determine if you want the fire chief to continue to have that latitude or if you want the city council to determine who gets billed. Right now it's just a verbal agreement and a working relationship, so that'll be up to you to guide me on how you want to formalize that, if at all. And then finally, a conflict of interest issue. This one is a little complicated. And it calls out Councilmember Hansel, but I have to say I take some responsibility for this too, because I remember very specifically saying that I looked at the law and I didn't think that voting on the chief was a conflict of interest. I've looked even more deeply into the law, and I stand by my statement. The law does not state that there is an inherent conflict of interest. Where the confusion came in and where the auditors are going off of is an Attorney General opinion of the law going back to 1974, again in 1979, 1982, and 1990, where the Attorney General's opinion of the law is that volunteer firefighters should not vote on anything related to the fire department. So, right after all of this went down, we adopted a conflict of interest policy. I don't know if you all remember, but it basically says if there's a potential conflict of interest, I would give an opinion on whether I thought there was a conflict of interest. If you disagreed and the council as a whole thought that there was a conflict of interest, that the council could vote on the spot about whether a volunteer firefighter could vote on a fire department issue. I am slightly ambivalent toward the opinion from the auditor. With that said, they're the state auditor, I am the city administrator, so we'll probably have to follow the law. But with that said, I do believe that our conflict of interest policy, which we wrote, is robust and fair, and so you will have to determine as a council if we want to strengthen that conflict of interest policy to restrict volunteer firefighters from voting on anything related to the fire department. There is a caveat, and that is, hypothetically, if 3 of the members on the board happen to be volunteer firefighters, that would create an inherent issue because nothing would be able to get voted on. So these are things that we have to consider about how much, how strict or how unrestricted we want that policy to be. So I'm happy to take some feedback on that. We don't have to discuss it now, but if you want to think about it and get back to me, and then we can either strengthen it, leave it as is, or get more clarification from the state. So those are the issues. That's a summary of the both audits. I'm happy to answer any questions.
I mean, the conflict of interest, that would apply to every department, like
right.
Ambulance and library.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
Mayor?
Yes, yeah.
In my quite a few years of experience, I guess, on being in public office, that conflict of interest, in my experience, has always been pretty strong. I mean, I've been told, no, you're not to vote on that because you're this or that, and so it just never really dawned on me anymore that was ever a very debatable issue.
Yeah.
But it must be. There must be some.
It is. It gets interesting because, like, you come from a bigger city. I obviously come from a massive city where those fire departments are fully funded and they have full-time staff.
Right.
In small towns and small cities where you have a large volunteer corps of people that are doing calls, it's inevitable at some point that some are going to end up on a city council. And so where the conundrum happens is when you get too many on a city council, you might not even be able to vote on anything. And so it's something that this isn't unique to Strawberry Point. Little cities across Iowa are struggling with these very issues. And so as far as I'm concerned, we do what we can to have good working relationships and make sure that decisions are being made in an ethical and open and fair way. And, if we have one volunteer firefighter on a city council, my personal feeling is that it's not fair or equitable that person couldn't vote on a majority of things, with the exception of salary increases or per call pay or something like that. But the Attorney General of Iowa completely disagrees with me on that, and so it's up to this council to sort of decide how that's going to go moving forward.
I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
Did this audit cost, what was the cost to the city?
I don't recall. It was less than we usually pay for an audit. I'd have to look it up. I don't remember. It was months and months ago. But this is the state did it, and we're requesting that the state do it moving forward. Mainly because the state would be the one to re-audit anything, and so if they're doing the initial audit, we know that they're going to be thorough. We know that they're using the same software. Their findings are going to be consistent, and sometimes using an outside auditor. First of all, it's getting harder and harder to find an outside auditor, and having the state do it is the way to go, in my opinion. And it's more affordable anyway. So and they did a really good job. They were here for a week or so.
Wow.
And we were going through Jesse was going through boxes in the basement finding stuff, so I was pretty happy with how thorough they were.
So moving forward, what we have for a conflict of interest policy is standing until we decide against it, or?
Yeah, we have a standing policy.
And that stands right now.
It stands right now, and basically, I don't know if you got this when you took office, but that's a copy of the. And basically, what it says is, if there's an obvious conflict of interest, I'll point it out, and I'll just say, look, I think this is obvious. Like, let's say that we were voting on how much money to pay per call. That's an obvious conflict of interest for Councilmember Hansel to vote on. If it's something else, I might say, gray area, and then the council member with the potential conflict of interest has the ability to abstain, or the council as a whole can say, I really think there's a conflict here, and then have a discussion and a vote on it. And that way it gives me the opportunity to point out obvious conflicts. It gives the council member the latitude to bow out, in the gray area or perceived conflict. And it also gives a check and balance for the city council to overrule both of those things and just make a mandate if they thought that there was a conflict. So, a lot of checks and balances in there, but totally open to changing that however the council sees fit. That's just where we were at the time.
Perfect examples he's talking about having more than 2 or 3 firemen. Volga has 4 firemen under city council.
Yeah. So technically, they probably can't even have a department anymore. I'm sure that'll be an interesting. That would be an interesting case study. So, any other questions on these? When we leave tonight, I'll give each of you my full summary report. It's pretty extensive, and if you have any questions on it, just feel free to call me during the week or weekend, whenever. And
I do have a question.
Sure.
When the fire department gave the city back that $20,000, and like you said, there wasn't a resolution where did that not go back to the fire department in their equipment fund or whatever? Because I don't remember it ever being talked about. Was it?
No,
I don't think it was officially received by the city.
It wasn't official. We deposited it. I think we deposited it in the fire department. We could follow up with you and tell you exactly what fund it was put in, but it would have been put in probably the fire department equipment fund.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll make a note and follow up with you on that.
You guys don't know, do you?
I was under the assumption you put it in the general fund.
Well, the general fund is kind of a misnomer. The general fund encompasses all of those.
Is all the different departments.
So I'll find out exactly what it's in, but we would have earmarked it for the fire department.
So the resolution they talked about requiring, is that just more for like a paper trail again so there was?
Yeah, I would call that overly bureaucratic to have a resolution to receive the money. With that said, it does make some sense if the deposit wasn't obvious.
Sure.
So let's say, for example, if we didn't know that it was for equipment, we were selling an asset that was, that would have come out of a specific fund. But let's say that the department or the association were to write us a check, and part of that was for equipment, part of it was for something else. I could see having a resolution that would state exactly what that money was for.
Yeah, that makes
sense. And that's my fault. To me, it was so obvious we didn't need a resolution for it, but the state actually wants a resolution for every deposit like that, and so we'll do that moving forward for sure.
All right. Any other questions? All right. If not, we'll we'll move to number 9, resolution 2565, declaring certain property to be surplus and authorizing its disposal.
Oh, Mayor, would you mind just doing the roll call?
We need a vote on that
Yeah.
one, don't we? Yeah, sorry. Okay, so we're voting on to receive the state audit report.
Yeah.
So move.
We've already got a motion and a second, so I'm just gonna take a vote. Larry?
Yes.
Megan? Yes. Sarah?
Yes.
Deb?
Yes.
Michelle? Yes. Okay, thank you.
Great, thank you. And these reports will be available on the website. We have a report section with a database of any financials and anything, so, you know, for transparency for the public, they'll be able to see it on the website.
Now we'll move to number 9, resolution 2565, declaring certain property to be surplus and authorizing its disposal.
So moved for resolution 2565, declaring certain property to be surplus and authorizing its disposal.
Second. All right, motion and second.
All right, well, these, as you've all seen, we have new Christmas decorations, and so this is to get rid of the old Christmas decorations and to have some discussion. We don't think that there's a lot of value there, and so we wanted to get some feedback on how you thought we should dispose of this stuff. We thought about putting them out at the city shop and putting a post on Facebook that says first come, first served, come and just take them. It seems to me that that would be easier than trying to get $50 or $60 for them.
Right.
So if there's no objection to that, you guys can give me the direction to just give them away, and then we'll make sure that there's a fair way. You know, I'll pick a random time that we'll put them out. Nobody will know about it but me, and then we'll make a post. And that way, you know, we wouldn't have a lineup of people fighting over this stuff. Yeah. Not that I think a lot of people are going to line up.
You don't want a Black Friday.
I know, right? Yeah, that would be, yeah. So,
Mayor?
Yeah.
Sorry to
That's-
interrupt. What about just giving them, say, to someplace like Camp Courageous? Which
I would totally be open to that as well.
they could sell it and the money be used for.
Yeah, Eric, do you think that there's any resale value to those at all?
Pretty specific.
No, they're 19 years old.
Yeah.
Half of them still work on them.
I think we
Are
did
they
give them
mostly
away.
plastic or is steel frames?
They're steel rebar frames, but lights are all incandescent. Like the wreaths, the candles, that's all they're all rusted out and loaded, so it's lights anymore. It would take a lot of work to use them. They're tiny little work.
Give them away. Yeah, we get a trip down there.
If somebody wants them and wants to come and do the work of coming in and getting them, then
Yeah.
let them
Go for it.
Yeah.
You guys already
Yeah,
asked
that's what
for,
it's gonna happen. So
you guys already asked for
it.
it, the fire department did too.
Yeah, we need one for parts.
Dean wants to put them on the fire department.
We have one up on the fire department.
Well, you need to put like 5 more.
We need one for parts.
No, 18 more.
Just put them down the chin, throw them in the dumpster.
We'll make sure you get one for parts.
And a big truck.
Maybe you'd want to make a posting that the city has these older ones,
Yeah,
and that there'll be a certain day.
that's exactly what I envisioned, because I don't want anybody to claim, oh, so-and-so knew about it
Yeah.
before.
Right.
So I'll
Yeah,
one day in the near future, I'll tell Eric, put them outside, and then we'll
First
put a
come,
post
first
up.
served,
Yeah.
That
It'll
sounds
just be
good.
me and my close friends who know it.
High demand later.
those people are coming from Chicago.
Yeah.
Exactly.
All right, general consensus, does that sound good?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, great, thank you.
All right. We'll go to vote. Megan? Yes. Sarah?
Yes.
Deb?
Yes,
Michelle?
Yes.
Larry?
Yes.
All right, number 10, resolution 2566, appointing Nona Wessels to the Strawberry Point Library Board.
I so move for resolution 2566 to appoint Noah Wessels to the Strawberry Point Library Board.
Second.
All right, motion and second?
Great, this is, in retrospect, I probably should have put this on the consent agenda, and I'm just realizing now that you said, hey, just do this on consent, and, but anyway, it's not, so this is pretty straightforward. There's an application in there if you want to read. I know that you all know Nona, so I don't know how much of this is germane to the discussion.
Was there an opening, or somebody got off, or?
There is an opening, somebody did get off, I don't remember who it was.
What are their bylaws? Are they supposed to be in town
No, they have, is it one or two outside of
They
town?
have one, I think, for a country,
Sure.
you know, and it has to be in the township too. Yeah, there's two.
Looks like that.
But they have to be in this township, because there are some addresses, Strawberry Point, that are not in the township.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. And somebody was not able to join the board because of that they wanted.
Any other questions? Now we'll go to vote. Sarah?
Yes.
Deb?
Yes.
Michelle?
Yes.
Larry?
Yes.
Megan? Yes. Number 11, Resolution 2567, adjusting the hourly wage for library staff Kate Reese and Sarah Fletcher.
Make a motion?
Second. All right, motion
Great.
second.
All right, so this was a surprise to me. Like if you remember during budget season, we had a list of employees, we had a list of the COLA increases. You had asked me if I anticipated any other raises at the time. I said no. I was not aware that new employees at the library, in the library handbook, are entitled to a 50-cent raise.
After a year of service.
After a year of service. And so we have two newer library employees that meet that criteria. I will caveat this with saying this was not disclosed to me, nor was it discussed during budget talks with the library. With that said, I don't think this will have much of a budget implication. These are part-time employees that don't work a bunch of hours. But I did want to just make it known, like this was a surprise to me as well. So I was a little not happy about it, but at the same time, if it is in the handbook, I think that we have a conundrum. If it is in the handbook, I think, my opinion is that we should honor that. And I have spoken to the library director and made it crystal clear that anything like this needs to be budgeted for. Even if this doesn't knock it over the budget, which I don't think it will, just need to know about it in the future. So.
And I'm concerned because I don't remember them bringing the library handbook to the city council to be approved.
Yeah.
I think
so,
we've always all been under the impression that here's your money, you guys deal with it. Like, we don't really have a say is what it's been before.
Yeah, well I want to discuss something in new business that is somewhat related, but not quite to this topic. So table that for a second, and I want to talk about it in new business. Yeah.
Okay.
So I have no problem. I mean, I think we should honor it because it is in the handbook, and those employees took those positions in good faith.
So when was their anniversary? When is their year anniversary?
The end of November.
Okay, so we're not talking like a bunch of retro pay or anything?
No.
Okay.
It's just going forward.
It's just happening now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, any other questions? Now we'll go to vote. Deb?
Yes.
Michelle?
Yes.
Larry?
Yes.
Megan?
Yes.
Sarah?
Yes.
Thank you. Number 12, Resolution 2568, a resolution approving the annual street finance report for the city of Strawberry Point.
Make a motion.
Second.
All right.
Great. So this is our annual city street finance report that basically, money in and money out for roads and stuff like that. And pretty standard reports, pretty similar to last year, actually. Most of the numbers are very, very close to last year. So the entire full report is in here. If you want to peruse this on your own time and ask any questions, I'm happy to dig deeper into any one of these line items. But nothing stood out. And then I also put the backup financials with some check marks and stuff on there. There was a little math that had to be done to complete this. You have to take stuff from different accounts. But anyway, it's very complete, it's accurate. I'm happy to answer any questions at any time about that.
So that's snow removal costs is labor and?
Yes.
So that was it?
Yeah, remember last year we didn't have a lot of. Yeah, that's going to be
Made up for it already?
I think we may have used that already this year. Yeah. No, last year we didn't have much snow. There was a lot of cold, but not much snow.
All right, any other questions? Not, we'll go to vote. Michelle?
Yes.
Larry?
Yes.
Megan?
Yes.
Sarah?
Yes.
Deb?
Yes.
All right, other business?
Great, so other business, we had a situation come up, not super excited about it, but I have to disclose it, and I have to disclose it publicly. The library director opened up a bank account, unbeknownst to me, unbeknownst to the city council, and without city council approval. In good faith, there was an old Starmont class that had a foreign exchange student decades ago, and they wanted to have some memorial donations. And but instead of coming to us to get the routing number and the bank account number for donations into the city account, this new account was opened. It's completely inappropriate, against Iowa state law. The library, they have a board and they have policy jurisdiction, but they do not have banking authority, which is why all of their bills and all of their payroll, everything goes through City Hall. This kind of touches on what we talked about a few weeks ago. It's, as far as I'm concerned, it's a serious issue. We're going to get dinged on the audit next year because of it. And because that happened, now we've got 10 to 15 hours of work in City Hall to undo what was done. So just to put it into perspective, we'll have to have resolutions or a resolution reversing what happened. Or what we'll probably do is just have the bank account renamed into the city, keep it at the bank, keep the funds there, but take control of it and rename it into the city. I'll have to go back 5 to 7 years, reconcile, everything, because there is another memorial accounts that they have. I have to reconcile all those, and then I have to make an official report to the state auditor. It's a massive amount of work, which I'm not looking forward to. Happy to do it, but not looking forward to it. But I wanted to give you a heads up because there will be a series of resolutions in the next council meeting that will undo that. And I've already talked to the library director about how inappropriate that was. There will be an official memo going to the library director and to the library board discussing exactly what the duties and responsibilities are of the board, what their authority is and isn't, and just unfortunately going to have to make it a little bit more formal than it's been in the past. So you'll probably be hearing about it.
And that was separate from the memorial account that she had. She'd always show book where she said this is the memorial account. So this was above and beyond that.
This is a new one, just opened. Just discovered, yeah.
Something not approved by their board, I'm assuming?
It doesn't matter.
I know it doesn't matter, but I guess I'm just curious to know,
Yeah, I don't know if their board even discussed it or not. I haven't had that level of granularity yet. But regardless, even if they did discuss it, they weren't supposed to. And so we will get dinged on this on the next audit. It will be an embarrassing mark, and I want to take care of it before it ends up on the news, because this is the kind of thing you see on regional news. And I'm not saying that any wrongdoing, there was no malfeasance to, move money and hide it. It was just a mistake because, there was some ambivalence about following the rules. And so I want to take care of it, have full transparency for the public, full transparency for the press if there's any questions, but it has to get undone and it has to get audited, and it's just something we have to do.
How many dollars in funds?
There's about $10,000 in funds total between the two accounts, and the one is the newest one doesn't have much of it. I think there's a 70-30 mix or so. So the existing memorial fund that we have known about, it's just been in existence a really long time, and may have been approved by the city council at that time. I talked to the auditor's office and they're like, undo it all, put all that money, we could put it in the library account on our books, but they're like, they cannot operate a bank account. And so I've got pretty specific instructions to undo both now.
How can things, for instance, the library's been a part of the city for decades, I would assume.
Yeah.
How can things not have been understood by both the city and the library board and the director of
Yeah.
the library board that this kind of thing needed to be done.
Well, I think it comes down to the fact that the library has a lot of autonomy when it comes to library issues. Like in the state of Iowa, the library gets to operate autonomously from the city. Like, we can't tell them what books to have, we can't tell them their operating hours. We do manage the finances, but, they present the budget each year. So there's a lot of confusion and a lot of gray areas about what latitude a library board and a library director has versus how much oversight the city has. In terms of finances, it's pretty black and white, but in their defense, I could see how if they don't know the letter of the law when it comes to the finances, it's easy to assume latitude if there's a question about whether they have it or not. And that's a problem with just with how the state sets up libraries. And even in a municipal library, the municipality has no control over much of their operation. Yeah, so it's just mass confusion, and we just need to clean it up, and everybody needs to play by the
So
rules.
here on out, if they buy books or games or whatever, and they're paying for it personally, they need to hand in that bill to the city.
Not personally, you mean like through the memorial? Is that what you're trying to say?
No, Patty Goes and some of the other ones, if there's a big sale and they want to get whatever they need for the summer reading program.
Right.
That's why she wanted a Visa card all the time for
Right.
that bank account.
Yeah.
But she does have a card.
Yes, and
Through the city.
And if there is a reimbursement situation, we have done that, where if somebody's out and they see something, we get the receipt.
Yep.
That creates issues in and of themselves, because sometimes the receipts have other items on it, so we need to redact and take away the sales tax. Like, it's a mess, but we do it, because, if there's a good deal on something, we don't
Or you need
want
to make a separate purchase.
Right, yeah, that's what we ask them to do, but sometimes,
Yeah.
Anyway, so all of that is crystal clear. Like, these memorial funds, though, are an opportunity to bypass the city council, because, if we didn't know about this, like, things can be purchased through that account, and we have no audit, we have no paper trail, and we have no say over what gets purchased, and it's technically a municipal library. It is ultimately our responsibility, even though they have their own board.
Well, and ultimately becomes city property too.
Yes.
If it's a large item that we need to insure or something like that.
Exactly. So anyway, you're gonna hear about it. I just wanted to give you a heads up that it's gonna happen, and give you some full disclosure so that because people are not gonna be happy about turning over funds. And even though they're going right into their same account, it's still gonna cause some discussion in town. Yeah. So happy week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you willing to track how much time you put into this, so we know how much time you put into it?
Yes, yeah, I can do that. It'll be, like, I've already estimated 10 to 15 hours of just finances.
Right.
It takes about, on an account that doesn't have a lot of, like, on our city account, it takes hours to do a reconciliation. On an account that might have 2 or 3 transactions in a month, it'll take minutes. So, yeah, I think between 10 to 15, but I'll do a little sideline and just keep a tally on what it is.
I would think that it would need to come out of the library fund because of whatever. It's not, to me, it doesn't make any difference if we hire outside help for snow removal or lawn mowing.
Mhm.
That gets charged to departments.
Right.
And I feel that this was hidden. Steve's been on that library board, and that was never ever talked about.
Yeah, honestly, my heart sank when I found out about it. Like, I was like, this is gonna be a lot of work.
Make
Yeah.
it clear to the library board too, I know there is several newer members, that haven't been on there for very long.
Yeah.
Maybe they just don't know.
They might
If it
not-
was talked about, I don't even know.
Yeah.
But
I'll probably end up going to a library meeting and having a presentation and just saying, here's what the guardrails are. This is the things that you can decide. These are the things that the city has to decide.
And if
it's
you
been
don't
made-
know, ask.
If you don't know, ask. Exactly. That's, yeah, I couldn't have said it any better, thank you.
So the
Yeah.
handbook's gonna be turned in and it's gonna be reviewed?
I would like to have their handbook annually reviewed, like, I think that would be, let me make a note.
Still kind of disappointing, because I feel like the library director definitely.
Yeah.
It's something you should know. Every other director knows they can't go and open up a bank account, you know. So, but I don't wanna assume the worst, I wanna assume the best and just put the rules in place and make sure people know what they are. I think they know what they are, but sometimes you just have to put it in black and white and,
I don't think that
yeah.
book needs to be handed in, it needs to be reviewed, because I know it's never been approved.
Yeah, maybe we'll do that with our annual review of protocols and stuff like that. It'd be good to just add it to the list.
Yes, I think it would be great to talk to the library board and make sure that they understand your role as city administrator in the
Yeah.
city and the library's role in the library and the financial issues that have to be interconnected
Yeah,
between the two.
yeah, I'll definitely do that.
Any other questions regarding that? Any other business? Anything from the audience?
Motion to
Thank
adjourn.
you.
All right, thank you.
And I've got some, resolutions.
I already tried my copy.
Great. All right. All right, very good. All right, so this was my summary